great minds. You are welcome to today's class. Our topic in this video is colonial Nigeria and Nigeria's nationalist leaders. Colonial Nigeria and Nigeria's nationalist leaders. So today in this topic we are going to learn about things like the meaning of a colony, who colonized Nigeria, the meaning of amalgamation, who a nationalist is, who named Nigeria, when Nigeria gained independence, and so much more. Now, I am sure you are interested in knowing about all of this. So, sit back and enjoy while I take you through the ride. Okay, first, what is a colony? A colony is an area which is controlled by another area. Or you could also say that a colony is a country which is controlled by another country. Okay, now in the past, there was no country called Nigeria. We only had black kingdoms which were ruled by their kings. We had kingdoms like the Old Oyo Empire and the Old Benin Kingdom. Now, after some time, the white men came to these black kingdoms and began to do business with the black kings. Okay, and the kind of business they did was such that they gave the black kings things like tin and gunpowder in exchange for slaves. So the white men took slaves from the black kingdoms, they bought slaves from the black kingdoms, and because of this, most of the black kingdoms began to fight against themselves so that they could capture slaves which they would sell to the white men. So this made the black kingdoms very weak because they had sold most of their people as slaves and they had fought many wars among themselves. And this made them very weak, and at the end, the white men were able to capture the black kingdoms. Now, the north and the south was taken over by the British. Okay, so first of all, let me say this, that the British colonized Nigeria. So the north and the south were taken over by the British, and in the year 1901, the Northern and Southern Protectorate became a British colony. Now, when the Northern and Southern Protectorate became a British colony, the British government needed a representative in this new colony, and so they sent a man called Lord Frederick Lugard. So Lord Frederick Lugard became the Governor General of the new colony. He was sent by the British government to rule over the new colony. Okay. Now let's go over to the meaning of amalgamation. Amalgamation is the joining of two places to form a country. Amalgamation is the joining of two places to form a country. Okay, now in the year 1914, the northern and southern areas or protectorates were were amalgamated to form one country. Okay, the Northern and Southern Protectorate were amalgamated in 1914 to form one country. And the new country didn't have a name, but there was a woman named Flora Shaw, and she gave the new country a name. And the name she gave the new country is Nigeria. So now you know who named Nigeria. Flora Shaw was the woman who gave our country the name Nigeria, and she formed that name from two words, which are the river Niger and area. So it's like saying the area of the river Niger, Nigeria. Okay, so Flora Shaw formed the name Nigeria from river Niger and area. Flora Shaw later got married to Lord Frederick Lugard. Now, in the year 1960, October 1st, Nigeria gained her independence. Nigeria gained her freedom from the British rule. So that meant that Nigeria was no longer ruled by Britain from October 1st, 1960. Independence is freedom from colonial rule. So our colonial masters were the British government, but in 1960, October 1st, Nigeria gained independence from Britain, and the Queen of England sent a goodwill message to Nigeria on that day. Okay, and in 1963 October 1st, Nigeria became a republic. Now let's go over to Nigeria's nationalist leaders. Nigeria's nationalist leaders. Okay. Now, who is a nationalist? A nationalist is a person who loves his country and fights for the freedom of his country. Now, I just told you about how the British government took over our dear country. Now, there were a number of people who fought for our country to be free from British rule. These people are called nationalist leaders. So a nationalist leader is a person who fought for the freedom of his country. And now we're going to take a look at some of them, some of their names here now. The first person we're going to talk about is Herbert Macaulay. Herbert Macaulay, okay, he was the first civil engineer in Nigeria. He was the grandson of Bishop Samuel Ajayi Crowther, and he was also a journalist and a politician. He fought for the freedom of Nigeria. Okay, so Herbert Macaulay was a nationalist leader. Now, the second person we're going to talk about is Nnamdi Azikiwe. Nnamdi Azikiwe. Now, this man also fought for the freedom of Nigeria. He was the first Governor General of Nigeria after independence. When Nigeria gained independence in 1960, Nnamdi Azikiwe became the first Governor General of Nigeria. And when Nigeria became a republic in 1963, he became the first president. He became the first president of Nigeria. Okay, his picture is on the 500 naira note. Now, when you take the 500 naira note and look at it, the the picture of the man you see there is Nnamdi Azikiwe. Okay, now let's go over to the next nationalist leader, Obafemi Awolowo. Obafemi Awolowo was a Yoruba leader. He also fought for the freedom of Nigeria from British rule. Now, he did so many wonderful things. He established the first television station in Africa, and he built the first stadium in West Africa. He also gave free education, free primary education to the children in the Western region. And his picture okay, this is the picture of the first stadium in West Africa, and it was built by Obafemi Awolowo. Okay, and his picture is on the 100 naira note. So the picture of the man you see on the 100 naira note is no other person than the highly esteemed Obafemi Awolowo. Now let's go over to the next person. This is a very interesting character. She is a woman, and she was also one of the people who fought for the independence of Nigeria. Her name is Margaret Ekpo. Margaret Ekpo was a politician, and she was also one of the people who fought for Nigeria's independence. She organized the Aba Market Women Association to fight for the rights of women. Okay, and she participated actively in the agitation or in the fight for Nigeria's independence. That brings us to the next person, who is no other than Tafawa Balewa. Tafawa Balewa was a northern leader who also lent his voice in the fight for Nigeria's independence, and his picture is on the 5 naira note. So the picture of the man you see on the 5 naira note is Tafawa Balewa. He was also one of the nationalist leaders. Now we're going over to the next person, who is no other than Anthony Enahoro. Anthony Eromosele Enahoro. He was a nationalist leader. He was the first to suggest that Nigeria should become an independent country. He was the first lawmaker to suggest that Nigeria should become an independent country. So these are just a few of our nationalist leaders in Nigeria. So today we have learned about colonial Nigeria. We have learned about who our colonial masters were. Okay, so we were colonized by the British government. We have learned about the woman who coined the name Nigeria. We have learnt about what the meaning of amalgamation, what a colony is, who a nationalist is, and some of our nationalist leaders in Nigeria. Oh, wow, it has been an interesting class. Thank you so much for watching. We have come to the end of the class. Goodbye.